All right, we get to Saturday, the 22nd. Moon leaves Sagittarius and enters Capricorn, but the sun enters Sagittarius. We are officially in Sagittarius season. Happy birthday to all the Sagittarians in both November and December. Mercury retrograde is still in Scorpio. There's also the trine in Saturn retrograde in Pisces and Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. Okay. We are officially entering into this period of the Magician. For all of those that have been doing the work, for all of those that have been, like, I want to say, jiving with the energy that I've been talking about. And the energy of the Magician is very, very interesting. It's kind of like you're an alkalite, right? And like an initiation, for those that don't know what an alkalite is, into that energy of Magician. We were working with the energy of fire and water, which is the wands and the cups. We were flushing out the energy of fire and water so that we can start using the elements of fire and water to our creation force. In other words, I'm allowing the emotions that run through us to stop us. Instead, we're using the emotions to create. Because the messages that we receive from spirit, because water is also spirit, right? In our intuition and the collective, the messages that we receive from spirit, the collective we're connecting to, are all in the frequency of healing that we have worked through. The elements of fire, which is the wands, the actions that we're taking now are things that we do that are based on this new collective energy that we have purified through the fire of this month and this year of 2025. Because we've been dealing a lot with our emotions. So now the actions we take with the wands energy are more aligned to what is real to us. We have acquired knowledge, which is the swords energy. Knowledge through all the information we received this week, all this information we received this year about what we should trust, what we shouldn't trust, what we should believe, what we shouldn't believe, what directions actually amplify us and what limit us. And we are using the energy of the pentacle, which is material action, material possessions, such as people, books, resources online, money, to make things happen for ourselves. Now, the biggest lesson for those that had eyes to see and ears to hear was this, with this energy of the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, with the Saturn retrograde in Pisces, and with the Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, is that our power, our magician power, are truly meant to help us. We're not supposed to sacrifice it to another. We're not supposed to give it away. Because when someone else receives the magic that is within us without earning it, they always abuse it. Through your process of pain, of suffering, of subjugation, of oppression, you have found out how it is to be in the receiving end of ugly, and how you don't want to go back there, and how you don't want another to feel the same. But you also know that in this place of authority, you have to continue moving forward, continue helping yourself and thrive and reach those goals, and be an example to others. And the way that you help someone that is lost, because there will be many, many lost, because there are so many that did not understand this assignment. They spent this entire time fighting to return to the past. When those come to you, you can give them seeds and tell them, this is what I used to help me. I went to counseling. Maybe you should consider counseling. I got these books. Maybe you should consider these books. I got together to this resource. Maybe you should consider connecting to that resource. And then just letting it go. Because the moment that you insist to somebody that doesn't want to do the work, you're turning into them. And unfortunately, if a person wants to stay in a path, to try to convince them to get out of it, you're being them. There is no difference between extreme good and extreme bad. They are extremes. And it's an imbalance. And whenever there's somebody that's extreme good, they're trying to hide something bad. And somebody that's really bad is trying to hide something good. There's always that. So it's always good to kind of gauge the environment that you're in and always shift using both your energies of good and bad so that you can find your center, because that's the job of the alkylite. But one of the biggest lessons to those that have been doing this walk is that we were never supposed to be Jesus in the cross. That was a false narrative that was implemented by the powers that be, so that you would sacrifice your magic, your abilities, your resources, your position for a false future that will never come, instead of living your life in this reality for your best outcome. What is best to you? That doesn't mean that you need a bazillion-dollar house, because that's not your best. But it also means that it doesn't have to be living off the grid, because maybe that's not your best. Because each one of us have a different path. And that's okay. I saw this Instagram feed, and it was a lady from Spain. I'm going to give her credit. The tag in Instagram was Vero Marcos 70. And she had said something in Spanish that I am going to repeat to you that I thought was hilarious, but has so much truth. It says, if the fart didn't come out of your hole, it's not your fart to claim. And it's a funny way of saying, if you didn't create the mess, it's not your mess to clean. The moment you take away that ability to that person to clean up their whole mess is the moment you decide that you want to become their God and you want to subjugate them. It does not matter if it's for good, to help them, to show them their way, or they have no power, they can be my slave. It's the same. So sometimes the struggle is the change, is the transformation, is the movement forward. And sometimes they don't make it in one lifetime, but that's okay too. It allows them lessons. And the moment you take that away from them, you have become their devil. You have become their personal hell. Even if it's in the name of doing good. So let's focus on creating that great life for ourselves, on doing the work, on moving forward, and being that genuinely good, empathetic person, but also having the sovereignty to know that that doesn't mean that I have to help everyone. That doesn't mean that I have to give to everyone. That doesn't mean that I have to take out everyone from their problems. Because problems show us too.